just for clarification, I am speaking to Mr. John Fleming, born January 23rd, 1989 in Denver, Colorado.
Yes? You didn't tell me this is going to be recorded.
All standard procedure, Mr. Fleming. Just to confirm, you were employed under Unknown Worlds Entertainment from August to October 2013, correct?
No, actually, not directly. The company I worked for at the time was hired by them, yeah, and well, you know, I quit and left quite soon after that.
Could you walk us through the whole story, from the beginning?
The whole job, or just the weird stuff?
The whole job, if you don't mind.
Alright, sure. It was August 2013, and I was working for... We would regularly get hired as QA testers in all kinds of projects, where we would test the application, write up reports, record bugs, answer questionnaires, basically whatever the devs wanted, you know. We were paid by the hour. Yeah, anyway, so the company closed a contract with Unknown Worlds Entertainment where the team would work on testing their underwater survival game. I thought it was actually pretty cool because we just got done with a string of rather boring financial advisory apps, so this would at least be a pleasant change. Anyway, we met up with the devs and got the brief. Me and two other boys would be doing playtesting and recording bugs while the others worked on usability.
How did the developers seem to you? Did anyone stand out?
I'm not sure what you mean. No, nobody stood out. All the people I talked to were very nice and polite, actually.
Alright, please continue.
Right, so I got my hands on the build and went to town. At this point, the game was still in a rather early stage of development, but I was having a pretty good time. I had the game on one monitor and the bug list on the other, just going through the story and motions to see what I could find. You begin the game on this alien water planet and pretty much just swim around, collect resources, and build stuff. Most of the story wasn't in at this point, but you would occasionally get a placeholder voice line or a pop-up that I would just note down. Honestly, I was having a pretty good time, at the start at least. So good that I decided to do some overtime. The boss requested a 200 entries minimum by the end of the week, so I figured I would stay a bit longer and just get it done early. Just as the others started packing up, I got a Slack message telling me a new build got pushed to the server. You know, I jumped into the repository, downloaded it, and went to town. And right off the bat, this one just seemed really buggy. There was no menu music or sound effects besides what sounded like wind, maybe? I noted it down. The loading screen was pitch black, but that has happened before, so I wasn't too surprised. And then the game loaded in, and, well, I was just in the middle of open ocean. Like, the spawn legit bugged out so hard, I found myself nowhere near the shallow part you were supposed to start in. This was also the first time I heard this sound, but, I'm sure you've seen all the reports already anyway.
All those files are unfortunately inaccessible to us at this point. Could you clarify what exactly you heard?
Well, it was the voice. Just the voice saying... Well, the first time around, I couldn't actually tell what it was saying, but I restarted the game and it actually loaded up correctly. The build continued to be buggy though. I noticed some of my buildings would randomly be taken apart once I returned to them. Some building materials I had disappeared from lockers. It's not like I haven't seen bugs like this before in other games. I just noted them down and moved on. Yeah, and I guess then there was the base.
What base?
I went to one of the islands in the game, and it seemed to me like they added a new base in there. It was made out of new assets and everything, but... I don't know, something about it just rubbed me the wrong way. That's also when I heard the voice again. This time it really startled me. It was right in my ear. I flipped the camera around. I mean, there wasn't anyone there, but... You know, maybe it was my nerves. The office was pitch black at this point, besides my monitor. I'm gonna be honest, this job often gets pretty boring, so it almost felt kinda exciting to see the game glitching in such a strange way. I decided to press on though. Well, in retrospect I wish I hadn't. I went onto the big submarine and was messing around with all the stuff that you could place in there. And then I heard another voice line.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
But this one should only play when you enter. The whole submarine went dark. It was dead quiet. My camera, I couldn't move it. it was stuck in a place looking out of the main window. And then I heard footsteps, like the players, but I was standing still, whereas these seemed to be moving away, for a while at least. Then they turned around and started coming closer. I was really getting freaked out. But the steps went past the engine, right into the main room behind me and stopped. For a few agonizing seconds, nothing happened. Help! I won't lie, when I heard that, I straight up jumped in my chair. The voice was so loud and clear, unlike any other voice line I heard before. The game instantly crashed. I was left there just staring at my desktop. I didn't really know what to do at this point. How would I even go about noting something like this down? I knew the game wasn't supposed to be a horror game, so this felt really out of place. Against my better judgment, I launched the executable one last time. I spawned deep below the map. My depth gauge read just over 6,000 meters deep.
Yes?
That's where all the voices came in, at once, as if slowly approaching from the darkness around me. It sounded like begging, pleading. Look, I was done with it. I didn't want to see any more.
Could you recognize the voices?
I guess they all sounded like the main character's voice, but it's really hard to tell. Anyway, I altered forward the game, turned off the PC, I grabbed all my stuff, and... help.
Wait, you heard the voice in real life?
Look, I don't know. It could have been my nerves or just paranoia at this point as I was looking over the dark office, alright? I sure wasn't gonna wait around to see where that sound came from. As I walked forward towards the door, however... help me. I stopped, looked back. Everything was so quiet. I couldn't even hear the usual buzzing coming from the server room. The air just hung still. I turned back towards the door, but the footsteps... I bolted right through the main door, into the staircase, and onto the street. I don't know if this was some weird prank or whatever, but look, I was done with it. I couldn't fall asleep for a minute that night. Of course, the next day, no one knew what I was talking about, the Slack message was gone, and so was the build. Well, I quit shortly after, and yeah, I think that's about it.
Alright, thank you very much for your cooperation.
What is all this about anyway? Why bring this up now? It happened years ago, and I haven't told many people about it.
Well, Mr. Fleming, it appears that some of the code you encountered has recently resurfaced. We're trying to prevent more casualties.
What? Casualties? People got hurt? Wait, you mean it wasn't just a prank? What are you on about?
Expect to hear from us soon, Mr. Fleming. We'll be in touch.